Color theory and practice. Today I'm showing you how switching from a strong complementary contrast to an analogous color scheme changes the whole feeling of the image and makes it look more editorial. So let's look at the before. The original image has a very strong red versus blue contrast. The red jacket and the cool cyan background sit far from each other on the color wheel, so the eye immediately feels that tension. That's why the model really pops and almost feels separated from the space. But I want the image to feel more in harmony. I don't want the model fighting for attention with the background. I want them to feel equal, so your eye doesn't jump back and forth between red and blue but reads the frame as one whole atmosphere. Colors that sit closer to each other on the color wheel, in other words, an analogous harmony, are naturally easier for the brain to process. There's less visual tension and less contrast stress, and your brain doesn't have to work so hard. That's exactly the direction I'm going for here. So, I start warming the image up, adding more red into the shadows and slightly reducing the saturation so the contrast is not that aggressive. Then I shift the blue background toward a yellow-green tone that sits closer to red on the color wheel. And this small shift changes everything. Now, the model doesn't feel cut out from the background anymore. The whole frame becomes more cohesive, more cinematic, and more fashion editorial. You can see my adjustment layer settings and blending modes in the small windows. After that, I create a colored glow on the right side of the model. If you look closely, that right edge becomes softer and slightly blurred, almost like light is melting into the frame. I enhance that effect using the path blur tool. Then I push it further by adding the glass filter. It slightly bends the right side, breaking the clean digital perfection and adding that subtle, almost glass-through light feeling. By the way, the distortion texture doesn't have to be standard. You can create one yourself, so it perfectly matches your image. I just showed how to do it, but if it felt too fast, let me know in the comments and I'll make a full tutorial about it. And now, here's before and here's after. Check my Color Grade With Me series on my profile.